We tried something really fun on our patio. We mixed liquid fabric dye into concrete sealer and gave the old gray finish a warm terracotta glaze. Here's how we did it and how you can too. First, we'll start with ordinary concrete, mix fabric dye into sealer, and make any color you like. We really kind of love it. Our patio started out as a terrible eyesore, but then we transplanted all this grass, gave it a good cleaning, and now, after soaking it in this tinted sealer, it's 30 years old and it looks brand new. And you won't need a top coat because with this formula, the top coat is built right in. We'll show you how you can have this look too, with love for a country house. A tinted sealer like this can go right over paint. So if you have some concrete that doesn't look so good, you could touch it up with paint like this masonry gray, and tinted sealer will go right over the top. In fact, we're going to show you later how we use this to repair a painted surface. So now let's talk about our sealer. We used two different sealers. We found an all-purpose and we found a wet look, and we used them 50-50 and created a custom semi-gloss. Mainly because we couldn't find a good semi-gloss in our region. But now we like this so much because you could control the exact amount of gloss that you want. We used warm shades of dye. Think about all the different colors and all the different types of concrete objects you might use this technique on. The thing to do is a lot of testing in advance. Plain dye on concrete would probably fade pretty fast, but if you mix it into sealer, it will bond better with the surface. Think of it as a type of primer. You can test your dye in water in a clear glass held up to the light to make sure it's the color you think it is before you add it to the sealer. The bottle doesn't always tell you exactly what color it is. So the formula we came up with is at least 2 parts sealer to 1 part dye. But we liked it even richer, 50-50, 50% dye, 50% sealer. So remember, when you put it on your concrete, it's going to fade back quite a bit, just like it does on fabric. What we like to do is keep a whisk broom on hand and clean as we go, because even if you start with clean concrete, inevitably you're going to have things come across your way like cats and tomatoes sometimes. You wouldn't think you'd have to worry about both cats and tomatoes. Look at that, a cat and a tomato. But anyway, the other things you might want to have on hand is a stool to sit on so that you don't put pressure on your knees. And see how we put our dye inside of another container, a larger pot? That's so you won't make as many drips when you're dipping your brush into the dye. We're using a stiff crafts brush here because it helps us work the color down into the crevices and to pull it out of any place where it's going to pool up too much. For smoother concrete, you can use a softer brush to make a more smooth finish. We'll show you that later. So while fabric dye is pretty inexpensive, concrete sealer often is not inexpensive, but it goes a long way. We used probably half a gallon to do this whole patio, at least 3 coats, and we still have plenty left over for lots of other projects. Now we're finally getting ready to do the last square, and the sealer is already so stable on the surface. I can stand on it and leave no footprints at all. So another fun thing we're going to try in the future is changing the color of commercial concrete dye using fabric dye, because a little bit of fabric dye will go a long way in a gallon like this, and you can push it more in the direction of a unique custom color that no one else in your neighborhood has. Look at that. This cat loves this patio now, and she's not leaving paw prints in it because it's already drying. Except over there where you can see it's still wet. But it's still going to take several days before it's totally the color that it's going to finally be. Here you can see we're working this beautiful red sand into the cracks and crevices so that grass and insects won't be such a problem in these areas. It turns out that red sand is sort of hard to find, and that sort of worries us because the type of sweeping sand that you use between your pavers will determine a lot on the final look. So you want to keep that in mind. Look in your area and see what you'll be able to find before you decide on your color scheme. Now, and you don't have to use a little paintbrush like this. It's going to be a lot more efficient to just dump a pan full of sand and sweep it in. And this is a lot of fun. It's a lot like playing in a sandbox. The only problem now is keeping muddy footprints off of your beautiful finished patio. That's always going to be a problem. You're always going to have to deal with footprints and wear and tear on paved areas. Years ago, we painted this concrete porch to look like green marble, and it came out so well. We made a tutorial on how to create this type of effect with paint and stain, and it's not very hard. We love it. But over the years, dancing on it so much, it started to become sort of faded. So see the sealer we put on? It's so nice. It's that semi-gloss that we mixed 50-50. We're still on the same 2 bottles of sealer. It really does go a long way, and we just love the effect. But over here in the corner near the steps, it's starting to wear off. That's where the rain hits. So we wanted to touch that up. And the way we did it is we mixed some emerald green liquid fabric dye into the sealer. Then we took a soft brush, which is what you want to use to make a smooth finish. And you can even use a small sponge brush like this to touch up little chips. You just use it over any damaged, chippy areas and let it dry. And because this is a marbleized surface and it's really designed to hide mistakes and wear and stains and stuff like that, the inevitable spot of birdie dew, it'll blend right in. So we're using our soft brush. Just look at the results. This is unretouched before and after, and it's not only brighter and richer, you can't really see the chips as much at all. So what do you think? Would you like to add a little bit of color to your life? Well, if you do, hope you visit SteffiMcCarthy.com. Turn our like thumb blue and click on the sun logo to subscribe. We specialize in color, and we've got a lot of fun things we think you'd like to see. See you later.